In this video, we want to take a look at installing DNS on our Suse Linux server. A couple things that we need to do to get set up to do this is we need to mount the ISO file, the installation ISO file. The, the packages that it needs to install DNS or bind are actually on the ISO file, and so by mounting the file, when we go to install it, it'll be able to go out and find the packages. If we have mounted the ISO file, it should show up on our desktop like this. This is a great indicator to tell you that the ISO is mounted. In addition to that, we need to know some things about our server. We're going to need to know its internet address. We're going to need to know what records we want to create. Okay, just a few things here. And if we want to test it from once we have the DNS server installed, if we want to test it within our own network, CorpNet and DevNet, no problem, we can do that. But if we want to test it from the internet, which is our long-term goal, then we need to have gone into PF1 and created a port forwarding rule. So our PF1, in my case, my PF1 has this IP address mounted as its internet address. I've just noted here that port 53 is what we're using for DNS, and when we create the rule in pfSense, we're going to create the rule to support both TCP and UDP. And then I've made a note here of what is the internal address of my Linux server that it's going to forward to. Now, again, these are unique for each of us. This value changes, mine is 18. This last value here changes, mine is 58, and so on. So we need some stuff done ahead of time. We need to know some stuff ahead of time, and specifically we need to have the ISO mounted. Let's go ahead and get started. To proceed with an installation of DNS or DHCP or the Apache server, we're going to use the YAS tool. And this is the tool that sets Suse Linux apart. Is this tool? It's a great tool. So I authenticate as the root user, and I'm in YAS now. And I come down here to the DNS server. This packages need to be installed. Okay, this is what it needs to go out to the ISO file and find. Alrighty. The first question it wants to know is, do we want to create a forwarder? It knows that we're currently using this address as the DNS server for our Linux server, and it's wanting to help us out here and say, okay, that's likely to want to be a forwarder. But in our case, no, we don't want to use that as a forwarder. This is an internet only. It's going to answer to the internet. It's going to resolve to the internet. We're not going to use any of our internal forwarding, or we don't want to capitalize on the cache or anything like that. So we take that out as our forwarder. No forwarder set for this server. We're asked then to create the name of our zone. In my case, it's ak.bobstaco.com. Okay, looks good. It asks us next then, do we want DNS to start manually, that we choose to start and stop DNS, or would we like it to start up when the Linux server starts up? And I'm good with that. Alright, so the installation, as you can tell, is pretty fast. The installation has completed, but we haven't done any configurations yet. So we go back to YAS, we go back into DNS, and now this time it knows it's installed, and so we're going to now be able to go to the configuration screens. A lot of options here. Again, how do you want it to start up? Do we want to create a forwarder, and so on? We're going to head all the way down here to DNS zone, and there's our zone. AK, yours of course is different, and we're going to go and edit that. So then on this page, we have then the option to create our records, name server records, MX records, and so on. We're interested in just some A records. So I drop down here to the records tab, and I'm going to put in, first of all, I'm going to put in my www, which would be my website, IPv4, and then my value for this is 198.187.236, in my case, .58. So I go ahead and add that. While I'm here, I'm just going to also go ahead and use the RDP name, host name, same IP address, and add that. And then lastly, I'm going to put in my test name, which I'm going to use bogus. And I'm going to put just some weird values in here, and for that, I'm like 123, 111, 222 and 123. And again, this is just done for testing purposes. By putting something unique or that I'll recognize, I can say, okay, that's definitely my server then. So there are my 3A records, and I'm good to go. Go ahead and OK that, and OK that, and then I'm going to apply the changes. Now what I'm going to do with this video, I didn't cut out any time as far as when it installed or whatnot, so we're pushing 5 minutes here to having completed the DNS installation. I'm going to stop this video and then start up another one where we're going to come in and test. We're going to use NSLookup on the Linux box, and then also go to one of our other clients within our network and use NSLookup to test this server to see that DNS is working. And then lastly, I want to take a client and go out to the internet, and from the internet ask it to come back and to test our server to see if names are actually being resolved for our domain from the internet. So I'm going to wrap this up. Hope this video was helpful for you.